Hey, so welcome back to another race recap. So I've been gone for around I think a month because I've been just taking a break from YouTube. But today and it's going to be the Tuesday night PIR that took place on August 24th, 2021. And this was my second race coming back from a vacation. So was at this point still trying to get back into race shape. And for those that are new to this course, this is the PIR course, Portland International Raceway, which is each lap is going to be 1.9 miles long, and for Cat 45 it's going to be 8 laps in total. And again, my name is Dennis, and we're going to be starting the race in very soon. So currently we're just getting some brief information about like the race course, and like how to keep everyone safe, since this is a Cat 45, so everyone's still learning. We're off. So when I got here, I was a little bit late, so I didn't even had the chance to like check out the course. So first lap for me was just kind of trying to figure out the course and just stay with the pack. You see here, like right from the beginning, people just start off strong, and then so I'm just here trying to sit in as much as possible. Just trying to keep the power down, so like you see right here, it's fluctuating between 100 and like 250, so doing okay on the power. And this is a flat race course, so you're going to just see the speed like be holding above 23 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour, so it's going to be pretty fast. So in this course, staying in someone else's draft is going to help a lot in saving energy, and especially when we come around this bend, when we're going this way on the course, there's a headwind, so it's even more important to just stick behind. And I don't do that great of a job doing that. Like, you see me, I'm off to the side a little bit, so I'm not getting the full benefit of the draft. So I was kind of unsure what the race course would look like, so I kind of wanted to stay off a little bit to the side to see what's up ahead. And here we're just against the wall right here. I think I've heard other people say, like in the past, if you stay close to the wall, there's less wind being blown onto you, so another way you can save energy. So in the beginning, I thought this course was like, this race was not going to be too difficult, since like my power wasn't like what's happening on taper, where you're always just hammering on the way up and closing on the way down. This is just like sustained effort. So right now, not even reaching threshold power, so still doing pretty good. And yeah, this being the first lap, so it's more like just checking out the course and getting a feel for how things are going to go. Again, getting in people's draft, and on the left you can see these curb for the racetrack. So this week we were going, I believe this is the counterclockwise direction, so you don't want to be going on the curb in the counterclockwise direction, because there's bumps, sharp bumps, if you can see right here. And if you go against that, you're going to get your tires, like, they're going to blow out. And even if you're going in the other direction, you still want to go on it, because it's just super bumpy and not a pleasant ride. So even though that's part of the racetrack, that's for the motorsports people, not for the bikes. Yeah, compared this to like Tabor, this track was super smooth, so like as long as you stay on the course, you don't have anything to worry about. And here I'm in front, this is with my friend Luis, which I think we're just right now just trying to hang with people. And here you see like I'm surging, and I'm not sure what happened. I think the person was on the attack, so everyone was starting to chase. And I feel like at lower categories, people less people are like have a clear strategy going to the race. Like even including me, I don't really have a clear strategy going to the race. So sometimes if people are on the attack, people might just blindly chase them down without like thinking about what's happening. I'm not sure if that's the case here, but it feels that like if there's an attack, people are always going to chase them down. Right here, I just look at the inside, see if anyone is there, and take this corner relatively easy. Don't want to do anything crazy on the first lap. Get back to the draft. Yeah, so at this point I'm doing okay. Other than like the surge from trying to catch up with the people like closing down the attack. Other than that, I think I'm doing pretty well at this point. But as you can see, my heart rate right now is at 190, so yeah, I was definitely feeling a little bit of like fatigue at that point. I think that's most likely due to not racing for a few weeks, so like just the fitness is just like not fully recovered. Even though I would say I have less muscular fatigue at that point, but I feel that aerobically, like more of the cardiovascular fitness is still a little bit lacking. Here, yeah, again in the draft, and we're getting back into the headwind section, so it's really important to get in the draft. Sometimes, like, also you have to figure out who to draft off. Like, for example, if you get a really big guy in front of you, it's going to help you a lot more than compared to someone like smaller. So just you gotta be aware of like who's a good rider, who's like very strong, and who can like close down gaps, and you can, as long as you follow them, you'll be good for the race. As compared to like other people who might open gaps, which is going to force you to close down those things. It's going to force you to expend a lot more energy and not be good like for the end, where if you're in a bunch sprint, those energy is going to be really important in placing higher up. Here you see, like, even having a little gap open right now in the headwind section, I'm like pushing up to 300 watts, so it's really hurting me at this point, and my heart rate's at 194 already. I've definitely noticed that, like, coming back after a vacation, like, my fitness, what really lacks isn't like the sustained power, but the ability to recover from high power efforts. That's what got me. Like, see, I would surge for a little bit and then be able to coast or like recover, like have low power later on. But my fitness, like, it just wasn't there to like recover quickly. So as you'll see later on in the race, I slowly yeah, even right here you see I wasn't able to like close the gap quickly enough, so this means that I'm just wasting so much energy trying to close the gap. In reality, I think I should have just maybe looked behind to see if anyone else is going to close the gap. Since I'm just doing it on my own, I'm just like, I just don't think I can just do this every time. You can already see that the group is getting strung out. So in the front, there's people just single file. Like for this race, if you're getting strung out, and this is like a pretty, I would say, pretty easy course to race on because the curves are pretty gentle, and usually the track is pretty wide and everything's pretty smooth. So if you're getting really strung out, that means that like you're not like doing too well as compared to other like race courses such as like city crits or parking lot crits. Those can have a lot of like potholes and such things like that. So if you get strung out, it's not as like, I would say it's not as surprising, but for this course, if you're getting strung out, that is kind of like a sign showing you that you're just like already falling behind. So here you see people like scrambling to catch back up, and for me, I'm like already starting to suffer. So you can see my shadow right now. I try to get as aero as possible in this straightaway to try to save as much power and like try to gain as much speed. But you see here, everyone's just passing me because I'm out of the draft and I'm not strong enough to close the gap. I should have jumped on someone's wheel, but yeah, the speed difference is like a little bit too much for me to do that. See, I try to get on this guy's wheel in front of me in the orange jersey, but I still leave a gap because I'm already at 300, past 300, which is like past my limit. Luckily, during the curves, people slow down, so I'm get relatively closer again, but still there's a gap formed. And yeah, in the distance you can already see people. There's like bigger gaps opening. So, and on a course like this where people like, on a course like this where it's people have maintained a pretty high speed, you're going to need like other people to work with you to try to close gaps. And at this point, I think people are still trying to close the gap. But as you can see later on in the race, like as the gaps grow wider and wider, it's not as much about closing down the gap. It's more about like trying to place higher in the group you're in, or just working together to try to minimize the time lost. Finally get back onto the wheel, so we're just coasting a little bit, just a little bit of energy save. I think that was kind of what really helped me to get through this race, was being able to stay in the draft and have time to recover, since my ability to recover wasn't the best at this point. Just even having like 10 seconds was really helpful for me. The whole time I didn't really know who was behind me, so all I knew was like we got dropped, so I was just trying to hang on and not fall back even more. Heart rate's at above 190, that's like, for me, I'm starting to suffer. Here people are moving up. I just can't close it down. It was really frustrating for me during the race because I was just seeing everyone pass me and I just wanted to close the gap, but my body was just like, nope. So here now, in this straightaway, this is where the tail run occurs. So during this race, I didn't really do much on this straightaway, but in future races, this would be a really good place to pass people, because in a tailwind, drafting is not as important, and even if you're out of the draft, you get the tailwind push you up. And also in a straightaway, I think it's like, especially right before you have a turn, those are the times when people are slowing down, and if you can catch them off guard, you can move up a lot. But obviously, things such as like dive bombing on the inside of the corner should be I'm not sure if you should do that at category 4-5, but that's definitely something people do, and it could be dangerous, but it can also be very huge in helping you move up the ranks. Or my bad, not the ranks. I just move up in the pack. Here we're just you see like we have like 4 or 5 people, and we're just slowly trying to catch up. And I'm not really expecting us to catch up at this point because the gap is so big, and I just don't think even as a group we have enough fitness to catch up. So I'm just trying to save energy, as much energy for the final sprint or whatever towards the end. So you'll see like I'm kind of drifting all over the place during the corners because it's sometimes I'm just like just a little bit faster than the guy in front of me, like going to the corner, so I have to go off to the side to scrub some of the speed off. So that's something also I should work on in the future, about like how to stay on the wheel more stable. Yeah, see again, I'm off to the side because I have too much speed, so I have to scrub off the speed. And I can't really tell if we're right now like who's in front of us, but it looks like there's just some more people that got dropped from the main group. Yeah, I'm like pushing 380 just to try to get onto this guy's wheel. At this point, we bridge with another group here, so I think that makes like for like 6 to 8 of us together. I noticed that in category 4 or 5, especially like in lower categories, even if you're like in a group, let's say like there's usually just going to be one person like really pulling, or like 1 or 2 people. So even if you're in a group, I don't think there's too much cooperation going on, so it might not be that much of a benefit. But nevertheless, something's always better than nothing, like when it comes to draft. And we still haven't fully bridged to that group. It's like we're just a little bit of gap. Some people are still like under the mindset of trying to catch the group ahead. That's why they're like pedaling as hard as possible. Whereas I think the main goal should be trying to work together, just like to bridge the gap instead of just trying to close down the gap on your own. I think that guy was one of the person that was like coaching our group about how to like rotate and work together. So at this point, I think we start to work together. It's like, and you can hear the coach shouting like pull off. So we're we're right now starting to work together, which is like good for us because everyone can share the load a little bit and go a little bit faster instead of just trying to mindlessly catch the group on our own. 44.5 also is not as like it's not as much as about placing higher up. It's more about like learning how to race together, how to cooperate, how to pick your lines through the corners, how to save energy in headwinds, and how to draft. So it's more about those skills you learn along the way. We're right now in a decent pace line. Obviously, thinking about pace lines, I like taking a pole during when it's like a tailwind. It will be much easier than when it's going to be a headwind. Here, I'm second wheel in a headwind, so I am still putting out some power, just trying to stay on. And then this is my turn to pull, so like I was at 380, so I was thinking back, like I think I should have watched my power a little bit more closely to see how much I was pushing. But luckily, being in a group means that you could expend a bit more power than you're used to, and still be able to like recover while you're in the back. But the important thing is you don't want it to expend all your power, because you still have to keep up with the pack. And if you use all your energy in the front while you're pulling, you're just not going to have enough to recover even. So here I get to back of the group. Had to surge a little bit to try to catch back on, but luckily the group was going pretty smoothly, so I was able to hang onto the back. I could like move up to the front, try to like take a pull in the beginning, like during the tailwind. This way I would save much more energy, as opposed to like being rotated to the back of the pack, like, or to the front of the pack while I'm in the headwind section. But also always like taking pulls, you just know any restriction on how long you want to pull, or how short or how long. So if you feel tired, or like you're just burning through all your matches while pulling in the front, you can always just like pull off to the side, let other people take the pull. So ultimately you're racing, like, even though you're cooperating with others to try to catch back onto the group, you're still racing as individuals to try to like get higher placing. So it's okay for you if you don't want to take as much of a share while in a group. 183, so much better than before at 190. Still keeping the speed up, 26 miles per hour. Still a pretty high cadence. I've already noticed, like, for me, even though during training my cadence is more like 85, 90, but during race, like, especially putting higher output, power output, my cadence just go above 100, so definitely notice that I keep pretty high cadence in race. Could be different for people. Some people prefer lower cadence. For me, personal preference, just higher cadence. We're just like doing laps right now, so not too much to comment about. Just rotating through, keeping things smooth, and keeping the speed up. This time my pole is like in a tailwind section, so I don't have to work as hard, or perceive to work as hard as I thought I did before. There's also other people on the course from other races, so yeah, just shouting on your left is helpful to let other people know where you are, they know how you're going to pass them. So the last thing you want to know is for someone to for you to pass someone not in your race, like in a surprise, and cause some crash or something else that could be worse. So always communicate with other people on the course. Flick my elbow, and so I move off to the side, and I'm just watching the last person in the pack so I could jump back on. Sometimes when you're like trying to get back on the pack, you have to start pedaling like before the last person passes you, since you're still like moving a little bit slower than the other person, so it's going to be a little bit of an effort to try to catch back on. So every race, like this race, being in a pack like this was really helpful in learning how to like effectively, efficiently ride in a pack. So you don't always learn about that if you're in the front, if you're with other people, because you're always just staying at the same place in the pack. Unless you're like actively you rotating, going up to the front, taking pulls, and coming back to the back of the pack, you're not going to learn things like this. dangerous situation with other people on the track. So again, communication is key. And I just take a pull again in the tailwind section. I wasn't counting laps, so I was kind of just asking other people how many laps there are left. So, and I'm learning that there's only one lap left. I didn't rotate to the back of the pack because I know that like if you're trying to sprint for a finish, you don't want to like be too far in the back because you're going to have to cover a lot of bike lengths to try to get back into the front. So at that point, I thought this was a pretty good decision, but upon seeing like we're still rotating people one after another, so I realized that I was going to have to take a pull in the tailwind section. Oh, that I might have rotated up to want to take a pull in the toe and in the headwind section. So I try to not pedal too hard to see if anyone else will come in front of me. But yeah, people weren't willing to take another pull in the headwind section because everyone was trying to get ready for the finish. So for me, I was just not to expend too much energy because I know this will come down to either a bunch sprint or I have to like make an effort to try to get a gap open up between myself and the group. So here, unfortunately, I get pushed to the front, so I have to take a pull. But you see here, my power wasn't like spiking up to 300 because I'm just trying to save my power for the end. Race smarter. Wasn't going to beat other people in a sprint, so my only option is to like get a breakaway going, just or like something like that. Let's see what I do at this point. Yeah, so there was a guy trying to like break away from us, so I had to do kind of a sprint to try to catch back on. All the way through the corner, pushing hard. Yeah, I think I passed these riders too closely. Next time I definitely should have leave more space. But this, I'm trying to get as much distance between myself and other people because the distance means that they're going to have to be in the wind to try to close that gap down. At this point, I think I was looking back. You can see my shadow right now. I'm just like dying. I was looking back. I think they're still on my wheel. You can see the shadow again. So breakaway attempt didn't really work out. So at this point, I just refocus on bunch sprint, so I don't want to lead people out. But unfortunately, here I made a dumb mistake. I misjudged how far the finish line was, so I sprinted way too early. Like, way too early. So even though I said I tried to avoid a lead out attempt, but that kind of just turned into a lead out attempt for other people. And I see my power just fades and I get past my two other people on the finishing straight. So for this race, I believe I finished around 30th place. And this was a good learning experience. Many mistakes were made, but also many lessons were learned. So very thankful for being able to race at this race. And I'm excited for more things to come. So until next time, I'll see you in the next one.